gone to, you know, the design I picked for this one, it was the angled design. So while I was sewing it, I was careful to note the center and the side. So the center is definitely where there's no number, then the side is where there's a number. The cups are pinned together so that I don't mix it, because each side can actually work for each other. So I have the center, I have the covering like this. Okay, so the two coverings together. So this is the back, which is the loop I was talking about. So I've made my loop now. What I'm going to do is to now, you know, cover it up with this fabric. So once I cover up and I sew like this, I'm going to now open out and turn in. So I'll have my loop showing out. Now let me talk about the tricks how you do your loop. So this is my fabric. You're going to make a rope. How do you make your rope? Let me see. A rope has to be, you know, if you have the fabric not this wide, you fold 1, 2, see the way I folded, then you do 3, so that you don't have any sides, any rough edges showing outside. So again, I go at it 1, you know, fold 1, more than half, fold 2, more than half, you overlaps each other, fold 3. Or you can do, depending on how wide you cut, you can do side by side and overlap. Okay, so for the rope you can just be cutting like 1.5-inch fabric and then a long fabric. Okay, so back to what I was trying to say, how you can do your loop. So you have the fabric, you have, this is where I'm adding my loop to. Remember the cutting, yeah. So this is the side back. I removed 1 here and 2 inches here, so that it's going to be slanted. Okay, so you're just going to take this and you overlap it. You overlap it. Two different ways. You can put it side by side, just like this, and just so. But I don't want my rope to take too much space, so I like to overlap. I just do 1/2, so that this is the space where we put the rope into it. 1/2, and then you sew on it. And obviously, I'm going to be leaving sewing allowance for facing. So once you do the first one, let me pin this. You have to maintain the same spacing between your sewings. So once I've done the first one, the next thing I will do is to measure how much spacing do you want between them. Then I measure how long this is. So this length now is 1.25. Good. So I'm going to mark the next space. Let's say I want 1.5-inch space between them. Then my next rope will be 1.5. Do the same thing, over fold and lay down. Also the length, you measure it so that your rope is not going to be longer than each other. Example of mine. So while I was working, I measured, I saw that I had, for the first one I did, I had 1.25 overlapping loop. Then I left 1 inch spacing from the top here to the top here, from the top here to the top here, from the top here to the top here. And I stopped here because there's going to be definitely allowance for sewing, and if there's no other space to do another one, and also by the time I finish putting my loop, so that I'll have space to, you know, maybe for my bow to stay very well. So that's how you do your loop. So the next thing, now I'm using double fabric since I have enough fabric to give it strength. So what I'm going to do now is to go and, you know, do my facing. So I'm going to face, since it's a sleeveless, I'm going to face all the way from the side allowance to the back and then to the slants, then here. So that way I now turn to the back, you know. So by the time I've faced the rough edges on the loop, so it comes out like this. Good. So you have something like this with the facing. So the other side too. And so always remember what space you left, so that by the time you now want to fix back on your dress, you are sure that it's just that 1 inch space you're going to leave out. This is the band, because the down part is a gather, so there has to be a band that will hold this place together, that the gathers will come. So this is the band, and my own spacing, don't forget, was 1 inch. So once I do like this, there's my 1 inch band remaining, and there's 1 inch for zip allowance, then there's facing allowance. So I'm just going to have 2 inches from here. So that's what I'm going to do. Now for the sewing of the cup, I'm going to sew it differently. This one and this cup to the front, and this one to the inner face, and I'll show you once I'm done. Then when I'm sewing, now this the down part, you can see this is the sewing allowance for the dress. So this is the place that we used to do my seam allowance. So they put the sewing allowance there, so by the time you are facing, you are sewing just on that edge. So I would continue the work and come and show you the finished results. Okay, so I'm done with the sewing. So this is how it looks like. So you're just going to sew into it easily. Well, after you finish your corset might look like it is bigger than your hole, but you have to just ease it into it. It will size it, since that's what you used to cut. So I fixed the covering, the style I said I wanted it from one side to the middle, from one side to the middle. Okay, so I fixed my corset now into one of the bodies, and I fixed the lining. This is the lining now into another of the bodies. So what we are going to do now is to use, this is just one of the types of sewing that we do, is to use the lining to cover the corset, and then we roll it over so that it has a neat finishing. Some people will finish the corset on its own and just insert into the bodies and the lining, but this method is, I think, the best one. So I fixed the corset inner into, see, this is on its own with the corset, the inner bodies, then the corset that has the cup into these outer bodies. So like I said, I'm using the same fabrics for effects. If you are using lining, put your SD to give it strength. So I'm just going to, just space it like that and turn over. Okay, so this is the loop back now, all done. This is my 1 inch allowance and my zipper allowance. So by the time I fix it, it's going to look like this, and the other side. So like this and like this. So something like this on the bodies, and then I'm going to use the rope. I made a long rope that I'm going to use for the finishing. Yeah, after I also finish sewing, I'm going to put a rope in the middle. I'll find my boss point, which is this middle, to connect from here to the back on the dark line. There's going to be a long rope before I now do the look on its own. I also want to do some things to the front. You will see the finished result, so you see how it looks. I want to try and how this brass look like. I'm going to put a line from this middle to meet the rope. I'm going to put another line from this middle to also meet the rope. So after the tiny rope going up, there's also going to be a line. I might even do 2 lines, I don't know, just to give it aesthetic. So if you can follow this format, I'm sure it will be good. The next thing you'll be seeing now is the finished results that I will do a video with it. So thank you, and stay tuned. This is the finished result of our corset dress, and like I told you, the ropes are are this one. So you can style this anyhow you want. You can put more lines, you can just do a lot with the lines, do another extra line. Then the back is the cross back, like I said, so you just squeeze it, and the rope is like inside. I just put it inside the dress. So that's the finished result. So do yours, try this, and then